Here's what you need to know about the end of the world. The end is near. Got a lot of people that talk about this, right? And they talk about all kinds of things. But here we are talking about what you really, really, really need to know. And why do we know that that's what you really need to know? Well, it's because it's what Jesus actually took time to tell us about the end of the world. So here we are. Another episode of Sweet Jesus. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Ice cream is sweet, but Jesus is far sweeter. Scott is back after conquering New York and Sedona.
That's right.
And we are here continuing our trek through the parables of Jesus. And we're taking a look at Luke chapter 12, starting at verse 35. The parable goes through 40, but there's a very interesting explanation that follows. So we're going to take a look at both of those things. Anything you want to give as a preview before I mess with people seriously with Jesus' own words?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. So here we go. Luke chapter 12. Stay dressed for action and keep your lamps burning, and be like men who are waiting for their master to come home from the wedding feast, so that they may open the door to him at once when he comes and knocks. Blessed are those servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will dress himself for service and have them recline at table, and he will come and serve them. If he comes in the second watch or in the third and finds them awake, blessed are those servants. But know this, that if the master of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have left his house to be broken into. You also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Peter said, Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for all? And the Lord said, Who then is the faithful and wise manager whom his servant will set over his household, to give them their portion of food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that servant says to himself, My master is delayed in coming, and begins to beat the male and female servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he does not know, and will cut him in pieces, and put him with the unfaithful. And that servant who knew his master's will, but did not get ready or act according to his will receive a severe beating. But the one who did not know, and did what deserved a beating, will receive a light beating. Everyone to whom much was given, of him much will be required. And from him to whom they entrusted much, they will demand the more. So what are your immediate reactions to these uncomfortable words of Jesus?
There seems to be like reoccurring themes that have been used before, right? A wedding feast, knocking at the door, lamps burning. So it's kind of familiar in that aspect from other things that we've probably read already.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking at the lamps burning thing. Is that like symbolic of being the light? Don't put your light under a basket. You got to be the light to the world, kind of thing. So if your lamps are burning, you stay dressed for action and keep your lamps burning. So you're still projecting light into the world. And if you don't project light in the world, then it's darkness, right? So
Maybe. I mean, I think it's definitely, there's something about the lamp. I think we might be pushing it a little bit, but maybe not. I don't know. I think generally speaking, the idea, and where is that? So we got dress for action, keep your lamps burning, and be like men who are waiting for their master to come home from the wedding feast. I think the idea is generally, when everybody goes to bed, you turn out the lamps, right? You put out the lamps. You're not supposed to go to bed until it's time to go to bed. You're not supposed to go to sleep until it's time for sleep, until your work is finished, right? So burning the midnight oil, right, is this idea like you keep the lamp going. And so these servants, like us, or at least I think that's the more direct connection, is that they're living in a time or during a period that you would think is not meant for work, and yet it is. Right? Like midnight is generally not when you work. Sometimes I find myself awake in the middle of the night for strange reasons, and I'm like, should at least try and be productive. Not easy to be productive at 3 a.m. It's just, at least not me. I don't know.
I don't know. That's why I just kind of felt like he's using that, it's not a time to work, but it's also a time where there's no light. So you have to have light, right? So that's what we're supposed to be, is light. So you're keeping your lamps burning. You're working when you're keeping things going. You're doing things that you should be doing. Even though when you look around the world now, you think, what's the point? Kind of sometimes. I don't know. That's
well, and I think it's a common way people, things are getting bad. They're getting worse all the time. And that idea of like darkness, and just because the world around you is dark doesn't mean you don't shine the light. If anything, it just makes the light more obvious. Yeah, I don't think it's not that. I guess I got stuck more on that general idea. So a few things. The end of the world is like the number one obsession of
everybody.
It feels
these
like
days.
Yeah, everybody, Christians especially.
Right.
But of all the things that the Bible says about the end, none of them really tell us how to figure out when. Even though there are an awful lot of people that want to try and convince us that they do know when the end is or what the signs are of the end. And interestingly enough, most of those things, like when Jesus, he does say, you should be able to see the signs, right? He's generally speaking talking about one event that did happen, and he's trying to warn them, get the heck out of Jerusalem, because it's going to get ugly. And it does. 70 AD, it is essentially the end of the world for first century Judaism. In that area, Jerusalem is leveled, and it's just terrible for the people there. But it was a way that God helped get the Christians out of Jerusalem and spread the gospel to even farther places. But as far as reading the signs for the end, I mean, even, Jesus says even he doesn't know. But one thing that is abundantly obvious from reading these kinds of, passages about the end of the world is that he's not giving us the details on when. And in this story in particular, he's telling us why. Like, he just wants us to always be ready. He doesn't want us to ever stop. He doesn't want us to act like, oh, well, the signs aren't pointing to it. In fact, precisely when all the signs are pointing to it not being the end yet, that's the end, I think. I mean, I think that's more likely to.
What's the significance of the master coming back from the wedding feast? He uses a wedding feast a lot, or marriages, and
He
So,
does.
is it just he just say, okay, well, this is just an event, or is there some significance you think of he's coming home from the wedding feast?
So a wedding feast
Could be
could last a while, I
okay.
think, first of all.
And you
So
don't really know how long it's going to last. Maybe is
I-
that kind of how they did that back then?
yeah, I mean, it was long, and it would require sometimes travel, and so I think it's more about this
Uncertain time.
uncertainty than it is about anything else. But yes, how do you not think of all the things Jesus has said about wedding feasts, right? Like him being the bridegroom, and it doesn't make that explicit connection here. But I mean, I don't see how you don't think he is the bridegroom, right? So maybe it's his wedding feast. He's celebrating this event, but he's coming back.
Because their master who's coming back is him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
He's coming back.
it may be just being used there, like you said, though, to set like, well, it's going to be an indeterminate amount of time because wedding feasts go on, and doesn't end at 9. Takes me 30 minutes to get home.
Depends on how much wine you had. If somebody made 180 gallons of unusually good wine right at the end, I mean,
Yeah, so it's just like, well, I'm going to be home when I'm going to be home, and you be ready.
Well, and that's like Motel 6, right? We'll leave the light on for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting. We're ready. We're in eager expectation of your arrival whenever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when it's dark out there, it's light here. We're ready. We're active. It's like it's daytime for us. We're prepared to do, what he says. Blessed are those servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will dress himself for service and have them recline at table, and he will come and serve them. If he comes in the second watch or in the third and finds them awake, blessed are those servants. And so it's being in active, eager expectation of these events that we're looking forward to. That, he's not saying, hey, it'll be around this time, or giving any crazy details about specific signs. People are always trying to tell us about the political landscape and all these different chess pieces that have to all come together, and then all of a sudden the end, we've got Israel as a large part of that in a lot of these discussions, and we ain't got a clue, and honestly, it does not matter. That's the message here. It doesn't matter when he comes. Are you ready? Are you acting like he's coming, even when it seems like he's not? Are you prepared to receive him? Right? That's everyone wants. There's all kinds of stuff about the end in the Bible. We're never told how to figure out when. We're only told what we should be up to. We should be up to the things that our master wants us to be doing. We should be prepared to receive him. We should, be more than excited to see him as soon as he comes. Not like, oh crap, he's here. Like,
quick, let me stop beating the servants.
oh yeah, come on,
get up, get up.
Wipe the blood off your face. Like,
I always thought that was kind of weird. I mean, who just goes around and, oh, well, he's not going to be back for a while. I'm going to go beat on some servants. But I guess.
Well, I think, the idea is that the master of the house, right, is that's him. But even in the house, there is like a hierarchy, and I think in the absence of, so you mentioned this earlier, nature abhors a vacuum, right? So there's a power vacuum, essentially, an authority vacuum while the master is gone. There's somebody who is the top dog. Downton Abbey, right? Who was the guy? he was the top dog, when the master's gone. The older guy.
That's a Wagstaff question.
That's a Wagstaff. Oh, they watched it? Yeah. Okay. You're not a down. I haven't seen it.
I've heard of it, but there's a movie out. There's a final movie or something that's coming out.
Coming out? There was one.
Or maybe it's out.
Yeah, I don't
already. I lost track.
I don't know. Maybe there's another one. Carson, I think was the guy's name.
Mm.
Yeah, he was like the head butler guy, and everybody did what he said. But of course, he did whatever they said. But if they are not there, he's the guy in charge, right? So in this parable, right, if you have the master gone, there's somebody running things. There's somebody in charge.
Right.
And, depending on things, sometimes that power gets to their head. In fact, I'm fairly certain I don't know why I thought of that. It just came to mind. I didn't think about it 20 minutes ago when we were, before this, but I'm thinking about it now, so I don't have any time to research this. But I'm pretty sure there's instances, not remembering all the details, where there are people that end up in authority that abuse the authority and get themselves in trouble as a result, right? So your master's gone, you're in charge, nobody to supervise you. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? So you begin to separate yourself from the servants, the fellow servants. Like, we're all really servants of this one master.
Right.
But I'm better now because I'm in charge. Now I'm not really a servant. I'm the boss. And so you're not doing what I'm saying. Well, now I get to do whatever I want to. I'm going to beat you and whatever. Mistreat them. And
well, when you think about the history of the church, I guess that's actually has happened.
Not just the church. I mean, just the world in general. But yeah.
Well, this is in the context of the church, I think.
What are you thinking of specifically? What comes to mind?
Well, just bad, church leaders that have abused their congregations or whatever you would call them, the people, that come to their church, or even other people, when the people came to America and, they basically tried to beat the natives into becoming believers, abuse them. And that's happened everywhere, not just here, but that would come to mind. But yeah, so that's an abuse of their power. So they may get beaten and cut to pieces.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well, hopefully, whatever.
But when I was, obviously, yes, there's always this temptation for us to not act like fellow servants, that we are above others, especially in the absence of the master. And, Jesus is with us always to the very end of the age. That is by the Spirit. But he is with the Father now. Like, he's away and he's going to come back. Like, so there is a sense in which he's not with us, even though he promised he's with us to the end of the age. He's not with us in the way that he will one day be with us. And so the longer this time runs on, the sleepier we are tempted to be.
Yeah.
And, as I was reading this and thinking about this and listening to some things about it, it dawned on me that, we are living in, it definitely feels like, as a pastor, we're living in a sleepy age, and I constantly feel like I'm fighting this uphill battle with people that are basically very sleepy, being lulled into sleep or are completely asleep already. And that doesn't mean like sleeping in a literal sense. It just means not awake to the
important things,
realities. Yeah, the important things that matter most. And it's not a fully, I'm not trying to wag my finger necessarily. I'm just saying it's what I see, and it's what I feel too. Like I get why we're like this. But man, we got to fight this. Like,
it's hard to stay focused, I guess.
yeah, and what is all of that?
I've seen it too, just on the two trips that we took. That, I mean, I'm just like, we're walking in Sedona, or we're on this whatever, and I mean, we're part of it. So, not to point fingers at anybody else. Or we're in New York and we're traveling, walking up and down the streets of New York, and all these people are doing all these things, and we're doing our thing. But basically, we're sleepwalking around, just going through this routine of things that we do in our life. We're living our life, whatever that is, but not a lot of spiritualness going on there.
Yeah. And what does it mean to be in a sleepy age, or what does it mean to be awake in a sleep environment? I think it's just living in, this ongoing just recognition that there is another master, right? There is the master, and he is coming, and living more in light of that than in light of, this realm or the masters of this world that are trying to lull us into sleep, to keep us from being awake, to keep us from being active in our faith. It's like it's a call to permanent vigilance. Now, I know, one of the things that comes to mind, I'm sure, for many people is this idea like, oh my goodness, God forbid, like I happen to be doing something not right when Jesus shows up. Well, that is why we need the grace of God in Jesus, because odds are, whatever time Jesus returns, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to be holy and perfect. Because
like 100% chance.
hint, you suck, just like I do. Like, we are evil, we are broken, we are sinners.
Bing, I want the bell. Bing, 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 bing.
Every
bing,
time
bing.
I wanted to make sure I got it in, so you weren't disappointed.
Do you have a bell I can ring every time?
So, funny story. We have a homeschool group that meets here on Mondays, and I finished up a video call I had with somebody, and then I went into the kitchen to make some lunch, get my lunch ready, and there's a mom from this group of, like, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 kids that come here for a homeschool kind of meetup. And I don't even know how we got onto this, but I led us into this conversation about, I think she asked me directly, like, do you think kids are born naturally good or naturally evil? I was like, oh, I know the answer to that question. And she was almost not surprised, but she was like somewhat relieved, like, yeah, kids are not born good. Like, we have to teach them to be good. I'm like, yes, we have to teach. If you just feral children, I mean, they don't just become good. They don't, I mean, yes, we can make them worse, but we have a responsibility to try and make them better, So, yes, we are evil, and Jesus, I don't want to belabor this because anybody that's listened to any of these, if you haven't, there's plenty more opportunities to dig into, with us on how evil human beings really are. But the point is, when Jesus shows up, you're still going to be a broken sinner worthy of nothing but being chopped to pieces. Okay. That being said, the Lord has given us work to do. He has called us to a war with our own flesh. And when he comes, he should find us at least engaged in that effort somehow, right? Like, or at least that's the mentality that we should have every day, that we don't want to disappoint the one that loved us as much as Jesus loved us when he returns. We want to be prepared to receive him, recognizing our desperate need for him, ready to serve him in whatever way he wants us to serve him. And, that being said, the fact that we're evil and all this other kind of stuff, yes, we are. But, Christians have found ways to, in spite of their fallen and broken state, do some pretty incredible things. So to say that we're evil and we can't do anything worthy of salvation, all that kind of stuff, doesn't absolve us of the responsibility to reflect him, to be the light, like you were pointing out with the lamps. And so just not letting this world convince us that the people of this world are our masters, or actually more and more that we are our own masters. No, we are not our own masters. Our boss isn't our master. Our spouse, our government, our feelings, our pleasure, all of those things, those are not our true master. Those things are constantly trying to attempt to override the Lord Jesus, and our vigilance, this call to vigilance is a call to say, no, whatever this world says, whatever it is trying to get me, maybe not asleep, but asleep to these real overarching truths that we have in Scripture and from Jesus himself, those things matter more than whatever this world is selling us. Let's not fall asleep to that. Let's not forget that. It's very easy to. And here we are 2,000 years later. Where are you at, bro?
It's been a while.
Come on. Yeah.
Been a little while. In human terms, it's been a little while.
And it's interesting because this Sunday I'm actually kind of talking about this, but I wasn't really thinking about it from this perspective. But this idea that ultimately,
I see a rewrite of the
not a
sermon.
rewrite, not a rewrite. It all
You've done that before.
it all sort
not because
of
this thing, but anyway.
Well, but it all comes together and helps shape it one way or the other. But it is this idea that, we can't bring about whatever it is we're hoping for in this world. There's nothing we can do to stop this or that political leader or political party or political movement or bad policy or government shutdown or we can't do it. We are not anywhere near as powerful as we think we are. And yet we are also far more powerful than we think we are, just in a very different way. But again, ultimately, the hope of the Christian is not that, well, I'm going to do something that's going to make the world finally right.
Mm-hmm.
If only I could be in charge. You were talking about that. We were talking about Bill Gates in the green room.
Yeah.
It's not green at all. It's
blue. Huh?
Blue.
Yeah.
Two different kinds of blue. So we're in the blue room and talking about Bill Gates and kind of this impression I think you had, which I agree with, that he sort of comes across as this guy that, man, if only I could just run everything the way I want it, everything would be good.
Yeah.
And the truth is that we're all sort of like that, but he just happens to have a couple $100 billion more than us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, we're not able to fix this. We need Jesus to come back and to redeem and restore all of creation, the entire universe. That is it. That is the only way that this is going to get solved. Not absolving us from our responsibility to be light, to be salt and light in this world, but let's put this all in perspective. Let's recognize that we can only do what we can do. We can only do what God has given us to do. And I can tell you just by looking around at other pastors and Christians and most of what they're spending their time doing ain't anything close to what Jesus explicitly tells us to do or not do.
Like Jordan Peterson is, we should start by cleaning our own room.
Clean your own room. Yeah.
We can't fly around and fix all the pollution, or fix all the crime, or we don't have that ability. But if we clean our own room, in other words, take care of the things that we should be taking care of, and then the next person does that, and the next thing you know, everything's working pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things work pretty well, honestly. They work pretty well now, and that's with people not everybody doing the things they should be doing.
In some respects, the world is a lot better than people think.
Yeah.
And this idea that, oh man, it's just getting so bad out there. Well, relatively speaking, we do have these dips, right? Or spikes in crime or low points. But generally speaking, they're all pretty much on this upward trajectory. Like, there are more people that have access to food and water than before. There are more people that have economic opportunity than ever before. There are more people. Like, it's just, it doesn't fit if you dig into the numbers. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't times COVID really exposed this, as well as bad policies now that, yeah, you can go backwards. you can definitely go backwards.
Pretty quickly.
Very quickly. It's a lot easier to break stuff than it is to put it together. That's another, I think Jordan Peterson talked, he's not who I was thinking of when I was saying that, but just I know, now that we're talking about it, I know he's said things. He's very critical of, like, why are you trying to tear down these institutions? Why are you trying to replace these, cultural foundational ideas, traditional values? If these things have spanned cultures for millennia, who the heck do you think you are to tear it down? And if you do, what do you think is going to come up in its place? Like, there's probably a good reason why people have passed on this kind of wisdom across, in many cases, not all, but across religious and cultural difference throughout the world and throughout history. Like, yeah, don't do that. But it is a lot easier to break stuff. A lot easier to break stuff. Anybody that's ever ruined a relationship or an opportunity or reputation, career, it's very easy to ruin those. You can lose trust in a matter of seconds, but, it takes a lifetime to build, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you never fully get it back even if you work toward it the rest of your life. So, we live in a sleepy age where it's so easy to be distracted by things. It's so easy to just sort of give up hope. It's so easy to be inundated by all the bad stuff. We can see the bad stuff in a tiny little village, 20,000 miles away from us. And it's the only bad thing that's happened in that village in 100 years, but we hear about it, and it's the next day after we heard about what happened, 100 miles away, and then 1,000 miles away, we hear about that the day after it, but so we get this impression that everything is bad all the time,
The 24-hour news cycle helped us with that.
Yeah. and then you can just get lulled into this, well, whatever. I'm just going to do what I want to do. Right? Or
beat the servants.
beat the servants. Yeah. Just beat the servants.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well,
I guess that's not funny, but it just like comes off funny. I guess because I don't have servants. So
I mean, I wasn't thinking of the beating of the servants. I was thinking more along the lines of just whatever I want to do, like whatever I feel like doing, whatever makes me forget about all that stuff, whatever turns out, I can profit from or gain from, or
kind of carve out my own little world where I'm in control of it. And
I'm not answerable to anybody. I'm answerable to me and the people around me, and they're responsible.
I definitely have that. I fall into that category.
We all do. And that's why we got to read these parables. It's the call, a return to vigilance, living in this sleepy age. And, people may not like this idea. I mean, it's not a very popular idea that we're answerable to anyone. And yet we also yearn for this because we do sense something's wrong with the world. I mean, I use that line every funeral. It's kind of the framework that I fit in all different stuff. And, it's obviously different for each person, but there's always that theme where, okay, here's some people who've lost a loved one. They're maybe in church for the first time in forever, or they've never been in church, and here's an opportunity for me to kind of present the gospel in a way that will make sense to them. And that's how I start, because, hey, we know something's wrong with the world. How do we know? Because this person we loved is gone, and now we have this ache in us that, an emptiness, that this person occupied a place in our hearts and in our lives, and now they're gone. And so we yearn for a solution to the brokenness. We yearn for the master to return, for the judge to make everything right. And yet, we want this general solution, but we don't want a personal solution. We want, I want the world to be set right, but not if it is at my expense, or at the expense of my autonomy, my own masterhood, Jesus, you can be the master of the universe as long as that universe never steps on my toes and doesn't infringe on my universe. Hey, we got multiverses for that. That's why we got multiverses. Because, there is no one universe. I get to have my own universe. I think that's probably more what's going on with those ideas. But, we want this. We want the master to come home. We've at various times, we are the one beating the fellow servants, mistreating or whatever. But then we are the servants being beaten and oppressed by the world, because government is not fair. Justice is rarely done well, no matter what efforts we put into trying to make it that way. And so we want someone to come home and take that servant to task and help us, right? And
it's like when the kids, the parents go out for dinner and the kids are home and they leave the oldest one in charge, right? And then that person decides they're going to be the dictator while the parents are gone, right? And then, I can't wait till mom gets home or dad gets home. You're going to pay the price.
Well, and sometimes it's the other way around. It's like mom and dad aren't here, so I'm not going to let you tell me what to do.
Right.
And it's not the oldest. And now the oldest is like trying to wrangle this mess, and we've had that, and we come home and remind them that there is a dictator. It's me and my wife. Like we're in this, generally it's a benevolent dictatorship, but this is a dictatorship. This is a monarchy of sorts, right? Like,
So if you come home and they're doing well, you let them recline at table and give them some ice cream and some
Yeah.
cake or something that you have for being good.
I was looking at that and I didn't get a chance to check on this, but it's kind of like a weird. I mean that this is what the note has, that it's like the master now serves the servants in some of the notes I have in my Bible here. But I didn't feel like it was that clear, So I don't know. Who's he? There's a way, I'm sure, in the Greek to identify who that actually is, whether it's the master or the servants or whatever. I guess it's singular, so that's probably what gives it away. He will dress himself for service and have them recline at table. Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where this is not like the real world. Like the parable of the sower, right? The sower went out to sow some seed and he just scattered it everywhere. That's not how the real world works. And yet that here in this parable, I think is meant to jump out at us and get us to say, oh, hey, whoa, hold on a second. He's going to serve us? What does that mean? He already has served us.
Right.
And
the highest must be the
last will be first will be last. Whoever humbles himself is exalted. Whoever exalts himself is humbled. Yeah. But he's coming to serve us, at least in the sense that he's taking care of those servants that are mistreating us, fellow servants. He's providing a world where there is no lack. He's providing a world where there is no pain and suffering. He's binding up our wounds. He's wiping away every tear from our eyes. He's defeating the final enemy that is death. He's reuniting us with the rest of the body of Christ. He's hosting a banquet that will never end. The best of food, the richest wine. We're going to have a party. It's going to be great. And so, yeah, but it is shocking because I don't think that's what I would do if I came home. And actually there's another parable, I forget which. There's a parable where he's like, you think he's going to come home and serve you? No, he's going to say, you get for me first, and then you can go and take care of yourself. Like there's another parable.
I don't remember that.
So I think it is actually in Luke. So let's not push it too far. I mean, we are going to have our role to play as servants, not the served. Served. Yeah.
That just sounds like a little bit of an reward for keeping your lamp lit and doing the things that he's asked us to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what are some of those things? I mean, we've talked pretty vaguely. What comes to mind when you think, oh, here's what Jesus should find me doing?
A bunch of things that I probably really don't feel like doing, to be honest. No, but I mean, I guess it goes back to what you've done for the least of these, you've done for me. So, yeah, your neighbor, who's your neighbor? Who's my neighbor? That parable. So help your neighbor and treat people properly, and have a, how does it go? Have a an account for what it is that I guess God has done for you. If someone asked.
Mm. Be ready to share the reason for the hope that is within you.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't one of the writers of the Bible.
Well, you're also not that old. So.
Right.
Contrary to how you may feel.
Mm.
Yeah, the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Those things, for sure.
So I've been listening to some of the Michael Heiser stuff. And, we're talking about the time of when Jesus is coming back. And he has like this concept of, he's talking about like at the time back when Paul was going around, the disciples were starting to go out and push the boundaries of Christianity out into the world. He kind of talked about it in a way like they're reclaiming the world for God kind of thing. Like some of these areas were being controlled by bad forces, right? So and so the fulfillment of the restoration of the Gentiles. So all of us non-Jewish people, I guess, learning about Jesus, becoming a follower of Jesus. That's things that have got to happen. So those are the things that I guess that we should be doing, is spreading the word, moving out into the world, or just in our little world or sphere of influence, and it's not until that time that, he will actually come back. So the longer we're asleep, the longer it may be, I don't know when his return will come. I don't know if Heiser was trying to implicate like we can speed up his coming back if we're all doing things better.
Yeah, I don't know if I would
go that far with it. I'm not trying to say he was saying that, but so we need to do those things so that we're reaching those people.
I mean, I do think that's something we should certainly be up to, but, that changes all the time. Because all the territory that was claimed early on, well, that ain't
falling
territory.
Back.
Yeah, I mean, the Middle East is not territory claimed in the name of Jesus. It used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there's this idea like the white man's religion, right? Christianity is the white man's religion. Baloney. It's Middle Eastern first, African second, European third, Asian more and more, South American. This is the only religion in the world that really is pan-cultural, cross-cultural. And so, yeah, but it started in the Middle East, and so I don't know. We don't know what the ebbs and flows of things are at any given time and what God's plan is or isn't. Although I do think there is some positive movement in the Middle East. Things about people in Iran, and there are Christians there, and even Israel, right? We've got this Jewish state, but yet there are more and more Messianic Jews, basically Christians that embrace both Christianity and their Jewish heritage. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the people, and then the people in our spheres, there's areas and relationships and authority that is now under the control of Christ if we, in fact, are servants of Christ, serving vigilantly in a sleepy world, in a sleepy age.
Well, even things happening here in the U.S. lately, there seems to be, although
Yeah.
I can't say I've really seen it
Yeah, it's not
in this
here.
little backwater town that we live in, but
it is happening in places.
it always happens. In my experience of growing up in Louisiana is it happens everywhere else first and gets here last. So,
well, let's hope it's soon, because
yeah.
definitely feels very sleepy here. Definitely feels very sleepy here. And what do you do in the meantime? Like, I think that's, can be that's why I asked the question, because what is it that you do? Right? Like, we're actually constantly talking about this with, the governing board, the elders, leaders here, me, and, the staff. Like, what is it? What do we do? Like, what is it that wakes us up? What is it that gets this place kind of firing on all cylinders again? If we knew, we would do it, right?
Again, I don't know if there was an again.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. Well, and if
maybe for the first time,
maybe for the first time
that I've witnessed, maybe
that you've witnessed. Yeah. Well, that's because I mean, it's just been a steady
I've only been
downward trend for a long time. And what do? There's different seasons, right? There's seasons to plant, there's seasons to water, there's seasons to harvest. But there's also seasons to plow, to till the soil so that it'll land on good soil, right? Like, so that something can actually grow, fertilizing it. And I think that's kind of where we are. And you don't necessarily know what's happening, or if anything is happening, really, until all of a sudden you do. And so what is the faithful stuff? I mean, it's reading the Bible, praying, worshiping. It's, encouraging others, preaching the word, teaching the word, serving one another, being available for people, and just living every moment, or as often as we can get, right? Because we already said we're pretty terrible. But living like he's coming, like, oh my goodness, there's not a lot going on, but there's got to be something for me to do, Like, what is the thing that Jesus would have me do in this moment? I think just asking that question is a great start. What is it that Jesus would have me do right here, right now? Or maybe what is it that Jesus would definitely not have me do? Like, I think we can narrow it down by excluding things too,
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's clearly not this. He doesn't want me beating the other servants. Okay, check that off the list. Scratch that off.
I guess they don't ever talk about weeding, but sometimes we weed. You have to weed your garden, so that's getting rid of those things that you don't really need. I don't know.
Weeding, pruning.
Pruning
is going after even the good stuff and cutting it back and helping what's most important have the most fuel for growth. These other good things, they're good, but they got to go for the sake of the best thing. I think it's just that question, if nothing else, just asking this question, just living in the tension, in the uncertainty, and letting God speak to us and through us, and always being ready to be redirected. being prepared for that. So, and yeah, let's not forget, once again, Jesus makes it abundantly obvious that there's an in and there's an out. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not whitewash it so as to soften the blow of these harsh words. I don't know if it's literally chopping to pieces. I don't know that we want to push it that far, but there's an in and there's an out. So make sure you're in. Trust in Jesus. Make sure those you love are trusting in Jesus. Those you know, those that Jesus puts in front of you, and pray for them. Pray for yourself. Pray for your pastors and your leaders that they don't turn around beating fellow servants. And
so I got you laughing about that now too.
Yeah. So yeah, I tough words here. A call to vigilance in a world that doesn't want us to be vigilant about much. If anything, vigilant against vigilance.
Vigilant against vigilance.
Like, don't let anybody try and get you to do stuff. Don't let anybody, right? I don't know if that, like, you are your own boss. You are the master of your own universe, right? Like a vigilance against this type of vigilance of living in service to the master. So, final thoughts, comments? We probably put everybody to sleep.
No, that wasn't the plan. That's not the plan. That's not the plan. Wake up. I don't know. Should you dream big or should you dream small?
Well, there's a great song called Dream Small, and I think smaller is, that's definitely the way to go.
Maybe we need to have a dreaming session.
The small stuff leads to the bigger stuff, definitely. So
maybe we need to have a dreaming session.
Well, I hope we have one on Sunday with the governing board. I've got some ideas, but still not entirely sure. So we'll see.
All right.
All right, there you have it. The end is near. Wake up and be ready. The master is coming at an hour you do not expect. Make sure he finds you vigilant.
With your lamp lit.
With your lamp lit, in expectation, in
your
hope.
loins girded.
And your loins girded, yes. Dressed for action. That's right. You can't run in a dress. Which is basically what everybody kind of had. So you got to kind of gird your loin. You got to wrap your cloak up. Not your cloak. That's not the right word, but your robe. Be ready. All right. Taste and see that the Lord is good.
And don't beat your servants.
Don't beat your servants. Ice cream is sweet. Jesus is sweeter. Later, y'all.